the new PS5 model that's going to be launching this year, the PS5 Pro, and believe it or not, the PlayStation 6. So this information is coming from the reliable insider that we've talked about many times here on the channel, that being Tom Henderson, and he put out a string of tweets, which I'm going to read to you. He starts by saying, on all of the PS5 Pro/Slim rumors, I don't think it's a Pro or a Slim. My understanding is that it's just Gen 2 of the regular PS5. The normal PS5 will cease production at the end of this year, and the new model will start in April and begin selling in September. He continues by saying Sony wouldn't cease production of the Gen 1 PS5 if they had different consoles in production for different price points/specs. The new PS5 will reduce costs in production and shipping because they can just produce one console with a detachable disk drive. As for if there's going to be a Pro version this generation, I'm not entirely sure. It doesn't feel like the regular version has been fully utilized yet and probably won't be en masse until the end of the year. All I can say is that I've heard more about the PS6 than a PS5 Pro. One final note here that he makes is he says, as for the new PS5 look, basically he says it looks like the old one. Or at least he thinks it's going to look like the old one. He doesn't think there's going to be any radical changes, to be honest. Now, he doesn't make it clear, like, did he see that? Was he told that? That just seems to be speculation on his part. But, you know, what we're basically hearing right now is that what Sony's doing with this new PS5 model is what they've done in the past, right? Like, what he's calling Gen 2 of the PS5, I feel like this is kind of what Sony has always done, where a couple years into the life cycle of a console, they release a updated version of it, essentially. It's the same exact console. It does look different, but it's going to ultimately, you know, have less components in it and be easier to produce and help Sony save money while they are producing them. I'm beginning to think that this PS5 model that's coming out this year is going to look very similar to the PS5 we have now. In fact, I'm actually beginning to think it's just going to be a smaller PS5. I wouldn't be surprised if it looks almost identical. That would be something that I think actually would be in line with the way Sony handles things these days. So, you know, you consider that they're releasing the DualSense Edge, they're releasing PSVR 2, and there seems to be like a coherent design philosophy between all of the PlayStation 5 products so far. I don't think this new model is going to look drastically different. And I think they're not even going to call it Slim. I wouldn't be surprised if the reason why it's called Slim is because that's what we're calling it. That's what we end up calling it. But officially, I don't think that's what it's going to be named. Now, as for the PS5 Pro, I got to say, this is something that I already know a lot of people in the comments are going to say that it's just not necessary right now. We've hardly seen the PS5 fully utilized. And I have to say, at this point, I'm in agreement. Right? I'm in agreement with this notion that it's just not really going to be necessary. If we do get a PS5 Pro, I think the biggest problem with it is it'll come so late, and we're going to be so close to what we would consider the next generation with the PlayStation 6 that anything Sony decides to put into the PS5 is going to take away from the PS6 will ultimately be. And here's something very important that I think we have to take note of. It's going to be very difficult for Sony to properly differentiate the PlayStation 6 generation from the PS5. It's going to be harder than it ever has been in the past. It was already hard for them to do so with the PS4 to the PS5 due to the law of diminishing returns. That's going to be amplified with the PlayStation 6. So I think that alone is going to ensure Sony does not do a PlayStation 5 Pro. The final thing I want to say here is that Tom Henderson does not divulge anything that he's heard about the PlayStation 6, simply saying that he has heard some things. So I really do have to wonder, what exactly has Tom Henderson been told about the PlayStation 6, and I wonder if he's going to end up sharing that information at some point down the line. But there you go. That's the latest information I have for you. That's going to do it for the video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you did find it informative. If you did, be sure to leave it a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.